are two things, I think. At the time, right before I started writing, I had 4 preteen girls who were really trying to get me to read YA fantasy. I'd never really read fantasy before, and they kept handing me Harry Potter. And finally I gave in, and I loved it, and just started reading everything they handed me. So that's the one thing. And the second thing was a little more serious reason. My husband and I were pretty involved in the fight for marriage equality in Vermont. Many of our friends who were in same-sex relationships dealt with some pretty serious harassment. Around that time, we had some rainbow lawn signs that had love makes a family, and somebody came in the middle of the night with a pickup truck and drove over and over and over and over and over the signs just to make a point, tear up our lawn, and drove away. So that gave me a very small taste of what our friends were going through, and I think it was very, I'm still upset. And the combination of reading all this fantasy and what was going on around me, I started to think about a story that talked about lots of different types of prejudice, but also pulled all the things I love about fantasy into it, dragons and wands and all those things. So that was the beginning of the whole thing. They're very supportive. They've done some editing for me, and they've been some of my hardest editors, because no one will be as blunt with you as a teenager who is your own child. So I've actually gotten some pretty accurate, blunt feedback from them, so that's been good. They've told me that as long as they pretend I'm not their mom, they love the books, because then they can read the romance parts and not be, a little freaked out by their mom writing romance. Definitely my knee-jerk reaction to that is Slytherin, because I don't know why the aesthetic of the dark characters appeals to me, but I'd say it would be more towards the idea that there'd be some redemption at some point, like a Snape character. Not well, sometimes. I write about an hour every night and then straight through the weekends, so my husband should be sainted, actually. Yeah. It's a hard balance. I work full time, so. I just came off reading Julie Kagawa's Shadow of the Fox, and I can't fangirl this enough, because I think right now what I'm looking for is like extraordinary fantasy details, something I haven't seen before, and this is based in Japanese mythology, which I don't know a lot about, so I'm very excited about this because it's brilliantly done, and I'm really hoping someday this is a movie. But I think my favorite thing about it that I'm looking for right now, because I want to inject a little more humor into my third book, which is a pretty dark book, is Julie's got a lot of great humor in this book. So yeah, very highly recommended. There's been a lot of rewarding parts to this. If I had to choose the most, it would be the countless letters I've gotten from young people all over the world, really, who, mostly in the United States and Canada, who were really moved by the anti-prejudice message of the Black Witch, and also some of them who read the Iron Flower. I think if I had to pick one of my most touching letters, I'm trying to talk about this without crying, a Muslim teenager from the Midwest, United States, wrote to me a long letter that the Black Witch really encapsulated her feelings of fear and just how she felt about political changes in the United States, but also that just the message of it gave her a little hope, too. Well, first I'd say don't think you can't. I have a science background. I have no background in writing. That doesn't mean I don't think there's a great benefit in studying that in college, or I had to learn a lot of things that I would have learned in those types of venues. But don't let that stop you if you haven't done those things. You can join a writing group. You can learn those things. I'd say start writing. Write every day. Write even, or try to write most days. Even when you're not feeling inspired, you will be amazed if you do this, that you will start to have ideas and your subconscious will start working on the things that you're thinking about, and you will start coming up with things that really surprise you, and it's going to be like magic. And also, if you enjoy doing social things, join a writing group or get your own writing group together, because it's really rewarding, especially after you have some writing under your belt. You might not want to do it right away, because sometimes criticism's a tricky thing when you're just starting. You don't want to dampen your enthusiasm. Different things work for different people, but I found writing groups, once I had some writing done, really taught me a lot about writing. And just jump in and do it. You definitely can become a published author. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Yes, I know how the series ends. I definitely always had the beginning and ends of each book in mind. I think the only spoiler I will share with you is that no one has guessed it yet. I mean, Harlequintine knows the end of the book, but I think you'll be surprised. Pleasantly, I hope.